The call did not come with hope. It came with fear. No one in the Galactic Council believed it would matter. The message was weak, broken, and rushed, sent from a dying world at the edge of known space. The enemy fleets were already there. Dark ships covering the stars. Cities burned. Defenses failed. Alliances collapsed. One by one, the council members spoke. Each voice tired. Each world already bleeding. They had sent requests to the great powers, to the old empires, to the strong fleets. No answer came. Then someone suggested Earth. The room went quiet. Humans were new. Humans were small. Humans were loud and divided. At least that was what the galaxy believed. Earth was not known for power. It was known for stories. Old wars, internal conflict, and slow expansion. Some council members laughed. Others shrugged. Sending a signal to Earth felt pointless. A final act before extinction. But extinction was already certain. So the signal was sent. It crossed empty space, through broken relays, past silent systems, until it reached Earth. On Earth it was night in many places. Cities glowed. Oceans moved. The planet looked calm. The signal reached a quiet station. Deep beneath the surface. No alarms rang. No public message went out. But deep systems woke up. Old systems. Files that had not been opened for generations. Codes written in fear and patience. Plans made after wars no one spoke about. Humans did not panic. They never did. A single message moved through secure channels. No words. Just a sequence. Leaders across Earth paused. Not in fear, but in understanding. They had waited for this. The enemy was not named. The threat was not described. It was not needed. Human history had taught them one lesson. If someone asked for help at the end of everything, then something terrible was coming. Councils formed. Not public ones. Quiet ones. Faces appeared on screens. Old men. Young women. People who carried weight without showing it. They did not argue. They did not vote. They confirmed. And the world began to change. Far from cities. Under mountains. Beneath oceans. Doors opened. Hangars the size of continents woke from sleep. Lights turned on for the first time in centuries. Ships rested there, black and silent, covered in dust and time. They were not built in peace. They were built in fear. Humans had never trusted the galaxy, even when the galaxy smiled. These ships were proof. Factories came alive. Machines began to move. Materials flowed. No one celebrated. No one spoke. This was not pride. This was duty. Above Earth, satellites shifted. Orbits changed. Patterns broke. To outsiders, it looked like noise. To humans, it was order. The Galactic Council waited. They watched the enemy grow closer. They watched their fleets fall. They checked the Earth channel again and again. Nothing. Some laughed again, this time in despair. Humans had ignored them, just as expected. Then long-range sensors changed. Space moved. Not fast. Not loud. Just different. One observer noticed it first. A small change. A shadow where there should be stars. Then another. Then many. The data did not make sense. Space was filling. Something massive was gathering beyond known lanes. The council demanded scans. Zoom. Filters. Confirmation. The images came back slowly. Ships. Human ships. Not one. Not 10. Hundreds. Then thousands. Each one larger than the last. Dark shapes with quiet lights. Moving with calm purpose. No formation the galaxy recognized. No symbols of known fleets. These were not defensive ships. They were not traders. They were not explorers. They were war. Fear spread through the council chamber. Not relief. Fear. Because help did not look like this. On Earth, no one watched the stars. They did not need to. The fleets moved without orders spoken aloud. Every ship knew where to go. This was not reaction. This was execution of a plan older than memory. Humans had never believed they were alone. They had only hoped they would be wrong. The first fleet reached the edge of known space. Then stopped. Not to wait, but to gather. More ships arrived. From directions no map recorded. Deep space. Dark space. Places no one else dared to hide. The enemy detected the movement. They laughed. One species could not matter, even with many ships. They moved closer to the dying worlds, ready to finish everything. Then space tore open. Human jump points formed. Clean, silent, perfect. The Armada did not rush. It did not threaten. It simply arrived. And the galaxy understood too late. This was not a response. This was an answer prepared long before the question. And this was only the beginning. The galaxy watched the human fleets and waited for a message. None came. For many cycles, the Armada stayed still. Not hiding, not advancing, just existing. That silence was worse than any threat. The Galactic Council tried to speak again. They sent gratitude. They sent fear. They sent orders and apologies. Earth did not answer. Inside the human fleets, there was no confusion, no debate. Every ship moved by an old understanding. This moment had been expected. Long ago, humans learned that real danger did not announce itself. It crept. It watched. It tested. The enemy fleets were massive, ancient, cruel. They had destroyed worlds without slowing. They had broken empires that ruled for thousands of years. To them, humanity was noise, a sudden shadow that would fade. Human commanders studied enemy movement, patterns, energy use, weapon cycles. Humans were patient. While the galaxy burned, humans prepared. Deep inside the largest command ship, a quiet room held only light and data. Faces appeared on screens. Fleet minds, not leaders, not heroes, planners. They spoke little. They did not need speeches. The enemy was predictable, strong but proud, fast but careless. The planners chose not where to strike, but when. Meanwhile, the enemy noticed strange things. Their sensors showed space distortion behind their lines. Supply routes felt watched. Communication echoes returned wrong. Something unseen was touching their war machine. They ignored it. They always did. The first human move was not an attack. It was absence. Entire enemy scout wings vanished. No explosion. No wreckage. No warning. Just gone. Panic spread through lower ranks. Command dismissed it as failure. Then a second loss. Then a third. The enemy slowed. Human fleets still did not advance. From the council chambers, fear turned to confusion. Was humanity afraid? Or waiting? Inside the Armada, ships shifted quietly. Positions changed by tiny margins. Formations evolved. This was not chaos. This was hunting. The enemy finally reacted. A massive fleet turned toward the human Armada. Weapons charged. Power spiked. The galaxy held its breath. Still no human message. The enemy opened fire. The first shots crossed empty space. Beautiful. Deadly. They hit nothing. Human ships were no longer where they had been. Then space bent. Human vessels appeared inside the enemy formation. Not around it. Inside it. Close. Too close. The first human weapons fired. Not bright. Not loud. Enemy ships collapsed. Systems failed. Crews lost control. The attack was surgical. No wasted shots. No grand explosions. Just removal. The enemy tried to respond. Their weapons turned. But targets vanished. Human ships moved like thought. Appearing. Disappearing. The council could not understand what they were seeing. This was not brute force. This was mastery. Entire enemy wings fell apart. Command ships went silent. Still humanity said nothing. The enemy tried to flee. Jump engines failed. Routes were blocked. Space itself felt hostile. Humans had prepared the field. Then something changed. A signal spread through the Armada. Not heard by others. The time had come. From deep space, more human fleets arrived. 10 times larger than before. This was not reinforcement. This was escalation. The galaxy realized the truth. What they saw first was not the Armada. It was the edge. The smallest portion. The outer shell. What arrived now was the core. Ships the size of moons. Structures that bent gravity. Weapons that did not aim because they did not need to. The enemy finally understood fear. They tried to speak, to threaten, to negotiate. Human channels remained closed. One small message echoed through human fleets. Simple, old, protect the helpless. In the threat, the final phase began. Human ships stopped dancing, stopped hiding. They advanced. Slow, unstoppable. Enemy defenses broke like glass. Their strongest weapons failed to slow the advance. Human fire erased fleets, systems, strongholds, not in anger, in certainty. The Council watched worlds be saved in real time. Enemy ships pulled away, then vanished. Planets that expected death saw skies clear. For the first time in generations, hope returned. And still humanity did not speak. When the enemy flagship finally fell, the battle did not end. It simply stopped. Human fleets halted. Weapons powered down. Silence returned to space. Only then did a single transmission leave the Armada. Short, plain, the threat is contained. Do not interfere. The galaxy trembled. They had asked for help and received judgment. But deep inside the human fleets, systems shifted again because the enemy was not gone and humanity was not finished. Far beyond the battlefield, something ancient moved, and humans had already noticed. Part 2 ended, but the war had only revealed its true shape. The galaxy believed the battle was over. They were wrong. Human fleets remained where they were. Not advancing, not retreating. They formed a wall in space. Silent, unmoving. The Galactic Council tried to understand. Enemy fleets were shattered. Supply lines gone. Command structure erased. By every known rule, the war should have ended. But humans did not celebrate. They did not return home. They waited. Inside the Armada, long-range sensors searched deeper. Far beyond known stars. Beyond old maps. Humans had learned long ago that true threats never travel alone. Deep in the dark, something answered. It was not a fleet. Not yet. It was a signal. Old. Slow. Heavy. Older than most civilizations. Human systems flagged it instantly. Not as enemy, but as origin. This enemy had a source. The planners gathered again. Their faces unchanged. This was the moment they feared and prepared for. The enemy that attacked the galaxy was only a blade. The hand holding it still existed. The signal came from a dead region of space. No stars, no light, only mass and silence. Other species avoided it, called it cursed, called it empty. Humans called it watched. Because centuries ago, human probes vanished there, without distress, without trace. The planners remembered. Human fleets began to move again, slowly, deliberately. This time the Council noticed patterns, layers, depth. The Armada was not one force. It was many. Frontline fleets guarded the saved worlds. Second layers watched the enemy remains. Deeper layers turned toward the dark region. The galaxy realized this was not defense. This was containment. Alien leaders begged humans to stop, to rest, to negotiate. They feared what might wake. Humans did not answer. As the fleets moved closer, space itself grew strange. Sensors lied. Time shifted. Distance felt wrong. Human ships adapted. They always did. This was not new. Their ancestors had faced chaos, storms, unknowns. They had learned to survive without understanding. The first human ships crossed the boundary. Nothing happened. No attack. No resistance. Only silence. Then entire stars blinked out. Not destroyed. Hidden. The darkness was alive. The planners watched the data streams. Their calm finally strained. This was no simple enemy. This was a system, a mind spread across space. The enemy was not invading. It was feeding. Entire civilizations were farms. Tests. Experiments. The galaxy had never fought a species. They had fought a hunger. Human fleets slowed, then stopped. This was the most dangerous moment. To move blindly meant death. To retreat meant doom later. The planners made a decision that would never be shared. Human fleets separated. Small groups moved forward. Others fell back. Some vanished into stealth. The Armada became invisible. The dark reacted. Space folded. Mass shifted. Something noticed. The first counterattack came without warning. Entire human task groups disappeared. Not destroyed. Erased. The galaxy screamed. But humans did not. Loss was expected. Accounted for. Human doctrine did not demand survival. It demanded result. From hidden positions, humans struck. Not at ships, but at structure. The dark screamed. Not in sound, but in disruption. Stars returned. Systems failed. The enemy tried to adapt. Humans adapted faster. This was not a war of weapons. It was a war of understanding. And humans had one advantage. They had been afraid of the dark since they first looked up. Fear taught them patience, curiosity, and cruelty when needed. Human fleets began to burn pieces of the dark away. Slowly, methodically, not killing, starving. The enemy panicked. For the first time it felt pain. It lashed out blindly, tearing space, breaking physics. Entire regions vanished. Human losses increased. Still the fleets advanced. The galaxy watched in horror and awe. They realized something terrifying. Humans were not fighting to save them. They were fighting to end the threat forever. This was extermination. Deep within the dark, something ancient awakened. Something that remembered humans. Long ago, before empires, before councils, it had seen early human signals. Primitive, violent, curious. It had chosen to wait. Now it regretted that choice. The enemy tried to speak, not in words, but in pressure, fear, visions. It showed humans burn worlds, dead stars, endless loss. Humans accepted the images. They had lived them. The planners issued the final phase command. All fleets converge. What returned from stealth shocked the galaxy. The true Armada. Ships that had never been seen, never recorded, never counted. Structures that were not ships at all, but moving fortresses. Weapons wrapped in armor. The galaxy finally understood. What answered their call was not the full force. It was a fraction. Humanity had not sent help. They had sent scouts. The Dark tried one last defense. It failed. Human fleets closed a trap. Space stabilized. Energy collapsed. The hunger starved. Slowly, inevitably, the enemy began to die. Not with explosion, not with sound, but with absence. Where darkness once ruled. Stars returned. Worlds breathed again. Human fleets stopped. The threat was not destroyed, but contained, locked, buried behind layers of human machines. The planners watched the final readings. Then they allowed themselves one breath. The galaxy waited for a message, for explanation, for reassurance. Humans sent one line. The danger is sealed. Do not approach. Do not ask questions. The fleets turned back toward home. But deep inside human space, new systems awakened. Because humans knew one truth. The universe was not safe. And next time, they might not arrive in time. The galaxy did not sleep after the human fleets turned away. Saved worlds tried to rebuild. Burned skies slowly cleared. Cities returned to life. But peace did not return. Fear stayed. Every council chamber felt empty. Every star felt watched. Humans had sealed the darkness, but they had not explained it. No records, no details, no comfort, only silence. Alien leaders argued. Some wanted answers. Others wanted distance. Many feared that humanity itself was now the greatest threat, because no one knew what humans had locked away, or how. Human space was quiet, too quiet. Trade routes reopened. Signals returned to normal. But human borders expanded. Not with words, with presence. Massive stations appeared near key systems. Silent guardians watching jump lanes. They did not stop ships. They did not threaten. They observed. The galaxy learned a route around them. Inside human territory, something deeper moved. The armada that fought the darkness did not return to rest. It split. Some fleets went home. Others vanished into classified space. Shipyards remained active. Factories never slowed. This was not victory preparation. This was readiness. Human history carried scars. Wars. Betrayals. Near extinction. They never believed one threat was the last. Deep inside a hidden council, another meeting took place. Not leaders. Not planners. Watchers. Their role was not war, but memory. They studied the sealed region. Constant. Unblinking. The darkness was contained, but it was not dead. It pressed, tested, learned. Slowly, human watchers adjusted layers, added depth, changed patterns. The seal grew stronger. Years passed. The galaxy tried to forget. Stories faded into legend. Fear became rumor. New generations doubted the old tales. Humans were still seen as powerful, but distant. Some species tested boundaries. Small fleets probed human stations, sent spies, hacked signals. They found nothing. No weakness, no cracks. Human systems felt simple, but impossible to penetrate. Then something changed. A human outpost near the sealed region went silent. No alarm, no explosion, just gone. Watchers noticed immediately. Data streams froze, then collapsed. The seal had been touched. The darkness was pushing again, this time differently, not with hunger, but with thought. Human councils reformed, faster than ever. The planners returned, older, sharper. This was expected. The darkness had learned one thing. Humans responded, so now it tried patience. Human fleets moved again, but quietly. No galaxy-wide movement, no massive armada, small precise shifts. The galaxy barely noticed, until alien sensors picked up strange echoes. Not fleets, not weapons, questions, signals that did not belong. The darkness was speaking, not to humans, but to others, promising power, knowledge, revenge. Some listened. A fringe species accepted the signal. They were desperate, angry, forgotten. They believed humanity had abandoned them. The darkness offered protection. Their worlds vanished soon after. Humans did not intervene. This shocked the galaxy. Why would humanity allow this? The Watchers understood. This was bait. The darkness was testing human limits. Human fleets stayed hidden. They observed the corruption spread. Slow, controlled, species by species, always on the edges, always among the desperate. Human planners waited. Fear spread again. The galaxy accused humanity, called them cold, called them cruel. Humans remained silent until the darkness made a mistake. It moved too fast. A corrupted fleet crossed a sealed vector. Too close, too visible. Human fleets appeared. Not thousands, not millions. 12. Only 12 ships. They did not announce themselves. They did not threaten. They erased the corrupted fleet in seconds. No battle, no resistance. Then they vanished. The galaxy froze. 12 ships had done what entire armadas could not. Fear shifted. This was not humanity at full power. This was restraint. The darkness reacted violently. It surged against the seal, tearing at layers. Human systems strained. Alarms rang for the first time. Watchers escalated. This was no longer containment. This was escalation. Human shipyards opened fully. No longer hidden. The galaxy saw it. Worlds watched as human space transformed. Fleets launched without number. Not rushed. Not chaotic. Ordered. Calm. The planners issued a command not spoken in centuries. Total answer protocol. This was the line humanity never wanted to cross, because it meant one truth. No return. The darkness felt it immediately. It pulled back, regrouped, focused. It remembered something else about humans. They learned from pain, and they did not stop once committed. The galaxy realized too late. The first armada was help. The second was judgment. What was coming now was extinction for anything that threatened existence itself. Human fleets moved toward the sealed region, toward corrupted space, toward the unknown, not to contain, but to end. Every human knew the cost. They accepted it, because humanity had made one promise long ago. If the darkness returned, they would become the light, or burn the universe trying. And as the fleets advanced, the seal began to open. From the inside, Part 4 ended, and the final war prepared to begin. The seal did not break all at once. It peeled open slowly. Layers of human machine strained. Fields bent. Energy screamed without sound. The galaxy felt it before it saw it. Stars dimmed. Jump routes failed. Old maps became lies. Human fleets crossed the boundary. This time, there was no stealth, no patience, only intent. The Total Answer Protocol was not a strategy. It was a declaration. Human ships emerged in numbers that bent perception, lines without end, depth without limit. They did not rush forward. They advanced like a tide. The darkness responded, not with hunger, but with form. Structures rose from nothing. Vast shapes built of mass and shadow. They were not ships. They were pieces of a mind. The first clash erased an entire region of space. Where fleets met, nothing remained. No debris, no light, just absence. Human commanders did not slow. Losses were measured, accepted, replaced. Humanity had learned long ago that survival did not mean everyone lived. It meant something endured. The darkness learned another truth. Humans did not fear sacrifice. They calculated it. Human weapons changed. No longer precise. No longer subtle. This phase was burn. Entire corrupted systems were consumed. Stars collapsed by design. Space itself was rewritten. The galaxy screamed. They watched worlds vanish. Some guilty, some innocent. Humans did not apologize. The darkness had forced this choice. The corrupted species tried to flee, tried to beg. Human fleets ignored them. Mercy had ended with a seal. This war was not for revenge. It was for removal. Deep inside the darkness, the ancient mind focused. It pulled itself together, condensed, formed a core. It remembered being worshipped, being feared, being eternal. It reached into human minds, showed memories, loss, grief, failure. It promised an end to suffering. Human minds closed. They had lived with suffering. They did not need promises. The planners released the final assets. Ships that were not ships. Constructs built around concepts. Engines that moved through intent. Weapons that did not fire, but decided. The darkness recoiled. Its structures collapsed under rules they did not understand. This was not technology copied from others. This was human invention, built from paranoia, from centuries of asking what if. The battle intensified. Human fleets pushed inward, layer by layer. The darkness lashed out, destroying thousands, then millions. Human formations absorbed the loss, adjusted, advanced. Time lost meaning. Cycles passed, or moments. No one could tell. The galaxy watched from far away, unable to look away, unable to help. They finally understood. This was not a war between equals. This was extermination conducted by experts. The darkness tried one last act. It tore open space behind human lines, aiming for Earth. Human response was instant. Defensive fleets activated that the galaxy had never known existed. Earth vanished from sensors, not destroyed, hidden, wrapped in layers of protection older than many stars. The darkness failed. Its focus shattered. Human fleets surged. They reached the core. What they found was not a creature, not a ship. It was a structure the size of a star system, made of captured matter, stolen time, absorbed civilizations. The source, the hunger heart. Human fleets surrounded it. No attack came immediately. The planners paused. This was the last moment. End it, or seal it forever. The darkness spoke again, not in threat, in fear. It asked why. Why humans fought so hard. Why they refused peace. The answer was simple. Humans remembered every world that had called for help, every voice that had been ignored by the galaxy before. They would not become that galaxy. The final command was given. Human fleets withdrew slightly. Then the weapons activated, the ones never meant to be used. Space collapsed inward, not violently, but absolutely. The hunger heart began to shrink, not explode, not resist. It was folded, compressed, locked, reduced to nothing and everything at once. The darkness screamed, not in pain, but in realization. It had lost. Human fleets did not cheer. They watched. They waited. The collapse finished. Where the darkness had ruled, there was now a single point. Contained, isolated, forever. The galaxy felt the silence. Not the quiet of fear, the quiet of ending. Human fleets powered down. Loss reports came in. Numbers beyond counting. Humanity had paid the price. But existence endured. As the fleets turned back, One final message went out, not just to the galaxy, but to the universe. This threat is ended. Others will not be allowed. The galaxy did not answer. They could not. They finally understood what it meant to ask humanity for help. Part 5 ended with victory and the cost of becoming the last shield between darkness and life. The universe did not celebrate. There were no cheers, no songs, no monuments raised in space. When human fleets returned, they came back smaller, not in size, but in number. Entire armadas were gone. Entire names erased from duty rolls. Human worlds felt the loss quietly. Families waited, then understood. Humans had always known the cost. This time, they had paid it. The galaxy watched from a distance. They expected humanity to claim power, to demand tribute, to rule. Nothing happened. Human fleets did not occupy worlds. They did not rewrite borders. They went home. The sealed point where the darkness once lived remained. Guarded, silent. Human machines circled it endlessly. Watching, measuring. No one else was allowed near. Warnings were simple. Do not approach. Do not scan. Do not ask. The galaxy obeyed. Stories spread anyway. Some said humans had become gods. Others said they had become monsters. Most agreed on one truth. The universe was alive because humanity chose to act. On Earth, no parades formed. Cities continued. Children went to school. Oceans moved. But something had changed. The sky felt closer. Human councils dissolved again. Their work finished. The Watchers remained. They always would. Because humans knew something the galaxy did not. Darkness was not a single thing. It was a condition. And conditions returned. Years passed. The galaxy rebuilt slowly. Carefully. Alliances formed with caution. Trust became rare. Humans traded again. Shared technology. But never weapons. Never the real ones. Curiosity returned. Alien scientists tried to understand what humans had done. They failed. Human science was layered, fragmented, sealed. Every answer led to 10 more doors. None opened. Then one day, a signal appeared. Not from outside. Not from deep space. From within. The sealed point pulsed. Once, human watchers noticed instantly. Systems shifted. Layers tightened. No breach. No escape. Just movement. Human analysts studied it. The darkness was gone. But something remained. An echo. A memory of hunger. They expected this. The planners had planned for this too. The echo was harmless now. Contained. Slowly fading. But it proved something important. Nothing was ever truly finished. The galaxy never learned how close it came. How thin the line had been. Humans did not tell them. Fear was not protection. Preparation was. Human children learned different lessons in school. Not about victory. About responsibility. About why help was dangerous. And why it must still be given. The phrase became part of human culture. Help does not mean gentle. It means final. Far beyond the galaxy, new civilizations rose. Unaware. Curious. Their signals drifted through space. Humans listened. Not as rulers. Not as saviors. As guardians. They did not answer every call. Only the last ones. Because humanity had learned something ancient. If you answer too early, you become a target. If you answer too late, you become a regret. So they waited. Patient. Watchful. The sealed point dimmed further. Almost nothing now. The Watchers logged it. Then archived the file. One more thread ended. One more lesson learned. Deep in human space, new shipyards were already growing. Not for war. For readiness. Because humans no longer believed peace was permanent. They believed it was borrowed and must be defended. Somewhere in the galaxy, a council member asked a quiet question. What if humanity had not answered? No one replied. Because everyone knew the answer. The universe would have ended. Quietly. Unnoticed. Humanity never asked for thanks. They never asked to be remembered. But the galaxy would remember anyway. In every chart. In every warning, in every silence, one truth remained. When the universe asked humanity for help, they did not send a fleet. They sent the end. And if the darkness ever returned, or something worse, humanity would answer again. not because they wanted to, but because no one else could, and the universe would hold its breath. Once more,